The story of Jesus of Nazareth has been preserved, debated, defended, and challenged for nearly 2,000 years. For most Christians, the four canonical Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John form the foundation of faith, theology, and historical memory. Yet alongside these accepted texts exists a lesser-known world of alternative Gospels, disputed writings, and controversial manuscripts. Among them, none has generated as much interreligious debate as the Gospel of Barnabas. This documentary explores the Gospel of Barnabas in depth, examining its claims, its origins, its theology, and the reasons it has been rejected by mainstream scholarship, while also explaining why it continues to resonate with millions today. The Gospel of Barnabas presents itself as a first-century account written by Barnabas, a companion of the Apostle Paul mentioned in the New Testament. From the very beginning, the text claims to offer the true story of Jesus, allegedly corrupted by later followers. In its narrative, Jesus is portrayed as a human prophet chosen by God, sent to call Israel back to obedience, humility, and pure monotheism. The Gospel firmly rejects the idea that Jesus is divine or the Son of God in a literal sense. Instead, it repeatedly emphasizes that God is one, indivisible, and without partners, sons, or equals. This theological position places the Gospel of Barnabas in sharp contrast with Orthodox Christian belief, while closely resembling Islamic teachings about Jesus. One of the most striking and controversial claims in the Gospel of Barnabas is its denial of the crucifixion. According to this text, Jesus was not crucified at all. Instead, God intervened at the last moment, raising Jesus alive into heaven while Judas Iscariot was miraculously transformed to resemble him and was crucified in his place. The disciples, according to the Gospel, were initially deceived by this event, and the belief in Jesus' crucifixion spread as a tragic misunderstanding. This narrative directly contradicts the central Christian doctrine that Jesus died on the cross for the sins of humanity, making the Gospel of Barnabas fundamentally incompatible with Christian theology. Another extraordinary feature of the Gospel of Barnabas is its explicit prophecy of Muhammad by name. In several passages, Jesus is depicted as announcing the coming of a final messenger who would restore true faith, correct false doctrines, and guide humanity to salvation. This messenger is identified as Muhammad, a claim that has drawn significant attention in Muslim communities. For many Muslims, the Gospel of Barnabas appears to support the Islamic belief that Jesus foretold the coming of Muhammad and that earlier scriptures were altered or misunderstood over time. At the same time, this feature has been one of the strongest reasons scholars date the text to a period after the rise of Islam. The physical manuscripts of the Gospel of Barnabas raise serious historical questions. Today, the text survives primarily in an Italian manuscript dated to the late 16th century, along with references to an earlier Spanish version that is now mostly lost. No Greek, Latin, Syriac, or Aramaic manuscripts exist from antiquity. This absence is highly significant because early Christian texts were almost exclusively written and transmitted in those languages. The appearance of the Gospel of Barnabas in Renaissance-era Europe, written in vernacular languages, strongly suggests a much later origin than the 1st century. To better understand the claim of authorship, it is necessary to examine who Barnabas was according to early Christian sources. The New Testament describes Barnabas as a respected leader in the early church, a generous supporter of the Christian community, and a missionary companion of Paul. He plays a key role in the Book of Acts and is remembered positively by early Christians. An early Christian work known as the Epistle of Barnabas circulated widely in the 2nd century, but this text bears no resemblance to the Gospel of Barnabas. It does not deny the crucifixion, does not reject the divinity of Christ, and does not mention Muhammad or similar ideas. Crucially, no early church writer ever mentions a gospel written by Barnabas that matches the content of the later manuscript. The theology of the Gospel of Barnabas reflects a worldview centered on strict obedience to God's law. Salvation, according to the text, is achieved through repentance, moral discipline, prayer, fasting, and submission to God's will. Jesus is portrayed as a reformer who condemns religious hypocrisy, social injustice, and moral corruption. The Gospel emphasizes dietary restrictions, circumcision, ritual purity, and the rejection of wine, themes that align far more closely with Islamic jurisprudence than with first-century Christianity. Heaven and hell are described vividly, reinforcing a moral universe in which every human action carries eternal consequences. Historical analysis of the Gospel of Barnabas reveals numerous anachronisms that further challenge its authenticity. The text refers to medieval social structures such as feudal relationships, uses measurements and currency unknown in ancient Judea, and describes storage methods like wooden wine barrels that were common in medieval Europe but not in the first-century Middle East. Geographical errors also appear, including references that place Nazareth near the sea, contradicting known historical geography. These details strongly indicate that the author lived many centuries after the time of Jesus. From an Islamic perspective, the Gospel of Barnabas occupies a complex position. Some Muslims view it as a corrupted but valuable witness to the original message of Jesus, preserved imperfectly through history. Others see it as a polemical text that reflects medieval debates between Christians and Muslims rather than genuine early Christian belief. Many contemporary Muslim scholars caution against relying on the Gospel of Barnabas as historical evidence, while still acknowledging that its theology closely mirrors Islamic teachings about Jesus, monotheism, and prophethood. Among historians and biblical scholars, the consensus is clear. The Gospel of Barnabas is widely regarded as a medieval composition, likely written between the 14th and 16th centuries. The author appears to have been deeply familiar with both Christian doctrine and Islamic theology, possibly a Christian convert to Islam or someone engaged in interreligious polemics. While the text may preserve echoes of earlier debates about Jesus' nature and mission, there is no credible evidence that it originated with the historical Barnabas or any first-century disciple. Despite scholarly rejection, the Gospel of Barnabas continues to exert influence in the modern world. It circulates widely on the internet, in popular books, and in religious discussions, often presented as a suppressed or forbidden gospel. For some, it represents proof that Christian doctrine was altered. For others, it serves as a cautionary example of how texts can be misused to support ideological agendas. Its enduring popularity highlights the human desire to uncover hidden truths and challenge established narratives. In the final analysis, the Gospel of Barnabas does not rewrite the history of Jesus, but it does reveal the complexity of religious tradition and interpretation. It stands as a testament to centuries of theological conflict, cultural exchange, and debate between faiths. Whether viewed as a forgery, a polemical work, or a sincere expression of belief, the Gospel of Barnabas reminds us that the story of Jesus has never existed in isolation. It has always been shaped by history, power, faith, and the enduring human search for meaning.